The students were all from Johns Hopkins University's prestigious School of Advanced International Studies. From the time they arrived at King Khaled Airport, they were impressed by the modern, fast-developing country they encountered.
Everybody was highly educated. The government encourages the highest degree of education possible, as well as, it seems, the families. And whether that it be inside the kingdom that they are earning those degrees, or if they go outside, such as the United States, to learn, they always go home to Saudi Arabia and bring what they've learned back to their country.
One of the most memorable visits was the Jubail industrial city. It's about 1,000 square kilometers on the Arabian Gulf. Huge seaport. I believe it's the biggest or one of the biggest petrochemical plants in the world. And to me, it just showed how much the Saudis get that they have to diversify. They can't just live off of oil forever. So they're going into petrochemical industries. It increases employment, a lot of plastics. We were surprised by how many things we use in everyday life that involve petroleum in some way. So massive scale industrial complex, lots of multinational corporations that are there, and it just goes on for miles and miles and miles of massive complexes.
Their trip, paid for entirely by the Saudi authorities, took the 14 students to 3 cities, Riyadh, Dammam, and Jeddah. The students visited universities, the National Museum, the Islamic Research Center. They also met with members of the Shura Council.
There are a lot of progressive ideas. It does feel like there's some dynamism there. There are changes. Women have been pulled into politics. They can be elected to parliament. So there are a lot of changes. It's hard to know who's pushing those and what the real pace is, but it does feel like there's hope and there's change and there is progress. And with them pouring investment into education, I think those dividends will start to come.
But above all, the group marveled at the warmth of the hospitality they received, something they say they were not prepared for.
What surprised me the most is what I alluded to earlier, is that the people were very warm and welcoming. I didn't expect that. I expected them to be a little bit more aloof and cold, and they embraced us like we were their brothers and sisters.
And Ben, were there some things about the country that you were not expecting?
Well, I'd spent 2 years in Egypt, and so that was sort of my point of reference, so I was constantly comparing, and much calmer. The city streets, the people, it was quieter, it was cleaner, of course a lot more modern. So that really surprised me, just the physical look and feel of the city. Also, there were so many American educated people that we met, and that was something I wasn't fully aware of. Everywhere we went, we met people who were either had a PhD from the United States, or their brother or their wife or their son or daughter was studying. So everywhere we went, we saw the connections between the U.S. and Saudi Arabia.
The students say they are looking forward to their next visit to the kingdom. After visiting well-equipped universities and the huge Jubail industrial city, these students say they were struck by the scale of the modern infrastructure Saudi Arabia has built up in recent years. But mostly they say they were impressed and somewhat surprised by the warm and welcome reception they got every place they went in the kingdom. Burton, Bollag, KSA2, Washington.